TWitCh. In this video we're getting into Twitch's origin story. Long time ago, way back in, I think it was 96 or 97, I started my first band in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan called Adam Hates You. It was meant to be an industrial band. Long story short, that band was short-lived. I think it lasted like a year or 2 years. We didn't really get past the rehearsal or the jamming stage in that band, and it got a little frustrating trying to get the other band members to perform live, and because they would never want to perform live. And the other piece of that is that they would not show up to rehearsals or jams, and they would never let me know when they couldn't make it. So basically, that band I wrote one song for. That's another story. I think it was called You Are No Queen of Mine, or Queen or something like that. I got tired of that whole situation, so came out to Calgary, Alberta for a vacation, I do believe in 1998. Obviously, I saw there was potential here. I saw there was potential in the scene. It seemed like there's some kind of nightlife here as well. And I ended up going out to an event here, and I had a lot of fun, and I was staying with my mom and stepdad at the time when I was just visiting for a vacation. And my mom said to me, you know, if you ever decide you want to leave Saskatoon, we can, you know, put you up and get you kind of kick-started into, you know, living in Calgary and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. So I got back to, and the other thing is that I got an eyebrow piercing when I came out here to Calgary, and then when I went back, you know, I'm kind of mulling over things, and I get back to work, and because I have an eyebrow piercing and it's a 4.5-star hotel, probably one of the most well-known hotels in Saskatoon, the Delta Bessborough, they didn't like the fact that I had a eyebrow piercing. They said I had to take it out, and I was like, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I wanna do more things like that, get more piercings, I wanna get tattoos, you know, stuff like that. And there's nothing really going on in this fucking city. I can't get the band members to do anything. They don't show up. They don't want to play live. I just realized there was nothing there for me, so I dissolved the band, I quit my job, and I moved to Calgary. And Twitch sort of started when I was sort of working on some music that I had previously been working on in Saskatoon. Stuff that I was going to use for Adam Hates You, but decided to use it for Twitch eventually. And I was working on stuff, and it was kind of slow at first in 1998, and I was just trying to figure things out, and I was I had access to a computer, my parents' computer at the time, and I was using a piece of software called Impulse Tracker that members of my previous band had given to me. Basically, I started working on what was to be the self-titled Twitch release. I was kind of doing it in the off time, like when I wasn't hanging out with friends and when I was not going out to events and stuff. There was a period of time where I realized that the one thing that I've noticed about Calgary, and this has kind of always plagued me, is that I'm always forced into these periods of isolation here. Well, that's, you know, whatever, it is what it is. But being that this city is made for people who drive, and I don't drive, and you know, getting together with friends is always at least at the time of the writing of the first album, it was always kind of like they had other things that they were doing or whatever. And I found myself, you know, I would want to go out and do things, but eventually it ended up being that, you know, my friends were doing other things or they were busy with other shit, and I just started to get down to work on the Twitch album. The name Twitch came from, I was working on a song that was to be titled Twitch, and my mom came into the room and she heard the song and she's like, you should name your band that. And I'm like, okay. I scrapped the song and named the project Twitch. Eventually I finished doing lyrics for the album, and fortunately there was a neighbor, our next door neighbor, her son was a guitarist, and he was into like nu metal and all that kind of stuff. And I asked him if he wanted to do guitars on the album, and he agreed to do guitars. And so I got some guitars from him. As I was kind of wrapping things up, sort of wrapping things up with the album, I was working this shitty ass landscaping job, and some people love landscaping. I absolutely fucking hate it. I hate being out in the sun all day. I hate having to be in, you know, mowing lawns or fucking blowing leaves into bags and shit like that. Like, I do not like landscaping. It is the worst job that I ever had. And the other piece of it was that my employer that was employing me for that job, he was a fucking asshole, and it was just, you know, I was kind of, you know, I was isolated, I was feeling depressed, and all these emotions were coming out of me. Then my friend, he was living in London, England. He's my best friend from when I was living in Saskatoon, and he was living in London, England, and him and I got on the phone and we were chatting, and he's like, "You should come to London." I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't know." He's like, "Just fucking do it." And then I talked to my parents, and they were like, "Yes, just fucking do it. Just fucking go to London. You won't regret it." London, England. So I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm gonna make as much money as I can from this landscaping job until I can get my holiday working visa for living in London. I'm gonna finish the album, and interestingly enough, everything kind of worked out right around my birthday. So I think it was July 1st that I got on the plane to London, but it was like a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before that, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before that, I finished up the album. I dubbed up 13 tapes, and I had made up artwork, shrunk it down, made a tape out of it. Actually, this is it. This is not actually the original printing of the artwork, because this has the original artwork fit perfectly. There wasn't these white lines here, but you can barely see it, but this is the artwork. This line wasn't here, but I painted this on a larger piece of paper, and I figured out that if I did things 50% larger and then shrunk it down, at the time you could shrink it down by 50%, and it would basically be the size of a J card or whatever. So I made this up and printed these dub tapes. I went to a friend's place for fucking, I don't know, 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours or something like that, and dubbed, I think I dubbed 13 or 14 tapes, maybe 12, I can't quite remember, but dubbed the tapes, yeah, printed the artwork. I assembled the tapes, packed them all up. July 1st rolls around. July 1st I basically pack all my shit. I got my holiday working visa sometime before I actually left, but can't remember exactly when. But anyway, July 1st I got on a plane, went over to London, England, brought my tapes. That's kind of how Twitch started, and handed tapes out to various people. Some of them made into labels' hands, some of them didn't. Nothing ever came of that, but I'm okay with that, because I decided I wanted to do something a little different anyway. Had an amazing time. Like 4.5 months later of being in London, I decided that I was kind of ready to come back to Calgary. Came back to Calgary, and that will be a story for another time. I will get into that in another video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have not heard our music yet, you can listen to that at twitch-official.bandcamp.com. We've got tons of music there, so have a listen. There'll be a link in the description of this video. And hey, if you feel like supporting us, throw us a couple of bucks for some of our music. Anyway, that's it for this video.